I had a lot of fun filming this interview with Grant Morris. He's an awesome dude, great mustache, really good mustache, but he's just a really, really top fella. And I think this interview is going to be helpful for any guy who feels like they've lost the wind out of their sails in terms of their health, the way that they look, the way that they feel, their energy, their stress, their anxiety, in terms of their wealth, their career, how fast they're moving ahead in business and in work, and also in their relationships, like their ability to connect with a partner. I think that one of the most underrated areas of having a healthy relationship is how well are you showing up personally? We always talk about communication. We always talk about commitment, respect, all this sort of stuff. But I think one thing that we don't talk about enough is what energy do you bring to a relationship? How do you go? Like, do you have the confidence within yourself to go out on date night? Do you have the confidence to maintain a really awesome conversation, to be super honest with your partner? And I think that anybody who wants to improve in those sorts of areas will benefit from this interview. So I'm not going to say anything more than that. Let's crack on in. Enjoy this interview. And we're live. Welcome, brother. Good to have you on.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Nice to be on here.
Mate, it's great to have you and your moustache on here.
Yeah, it's as I said before, mate. If you look nice and close, it's a pretty piss poor attempt to grow one, but I'm doing my best.
At least it's thick. There's no. I get this patch like right here down the side of my cheek that just won't grow. It's gross.
Yeah. Well, that's what the misso, she always keeps saying. The moustache, that's it. And then as soon as I get a bit of like stuffle here, I get those bald patches as well. And she goes, "Nah, shave it off."
Does she like the moustache?
Yeah, it was actually her idea on stage.
You're kidding.
So
that's a keeper, mate. Yeah. That is a keeper. Hold on to her with both hands.
100%. Well, we were supposed to get married in August, and then cheeky old COVID decided to put a little stop on that one.
Yeah, mate, it got us too. We were meant to be married in November as well. Let's say, yeah, it's a funny one, COVID.
Yeah, we'll get a win at some stage, but we're rebooked for March next year, so we're pretty sorted. So we're actually up your way. We're out at Tweed Heads,
beautiful
up towards
spot.
Your way. So yeah, so we're pretty excited to get that over and done with, and move on to the next adventure in life.
100%, man. 100%. I've got to ask as well, dude. Like, what made you want to join JCF?
Well, I was at a stage where, well, been over 6 months now, but I was I just felt like I was heading in a bit of a downward spiral. No motivation. Felt like shit all the time. Sort of, just getting in one of those ruts where you sort of find yourself not being able to get out of. And then one of my mates actually was being coached by one of your guys, Cade Lepovic, if you're out there, mate.
Yeah, good man. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I saw it come up on his page. And then I sort of saw that and I was like, oh yeah, sort of had a look and sort of sat on it for a little bit. Yeah, no, sort of wonder if it's, one of these gimmicks and that sort of thing. And I thought, well, if one of my mates has done it, it mustn't be too shabby. And yeah, then all of a sudden I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll just bite the bullet. And then I wrote Summit on that post you put up, and yeah, then got a phone call from Sean a couple of weeks later, and then couple of days later, and then had a chat with him, and like I was having 2 or 3 Red Bulls a day.
Oof.
Trying to pump myself up, a Red Bull for before the gym. There's a bit of a pre-workout, and then get to the gym, try and pump out some weights, and still feel like shit afterwards, and not really feel like I'm achieving anything. And then
run us through what you said right at the start. You're in a bit of a rut. So for you're in this rut. You're chewing a few Red Bulls a day. Your energy's not great. Like what does the whole rut like? Like if you had to describe it, how you were feeling and how it was affecting you, what was it like?
Just stagnant. Like I had no direction in sort of where I wanted to go or sort of what I wanted to actually do with my life, and sort of getting lost. And so you sort of just living life day by day. Go to work, come home, eat shit food. Go to work, come home, eat shit food, and just doing that every day. And then your mental state, because it was like sort of suffer a bit of anxiety and depression.
How'd that affect you?
Oh mate, it's absolutely shit. Every minute of the day, you're anxious about shit, what did I do this? Or, some of the things was like, oh shit, did I lock the door? And then you sit there and you panic about it all day. And then so just the depression of just being stuck, just, you want to get out of it. And, it's just a shit feeling when you've got no direction in life and you literally feel stuck. And then it just feels like a spiral effect where, you keep getting more depressed, and then you get anxious about being depressed, and then you get anxious again, and then you get depressed again. And then all of a sudden you end up right down to this bottom point. And a few years ago, like I was a pretty good, like pretty happy kid and stuff. And then about 10 years ago, or maybe 8 years ago, I had a pretty serious knee injury playing footy. And then, that sort of stopped me from playing a lot of sport for quite a few years. So like I tore my ACL. I've got nerve damage in the peroneal nerve down the side of my leg. Had MCL, PCL. Can't remember which one it was, but yeah. So they, I had no sort of ligament stop my leg from moving like this sideways in, and then also had drop foot as well. So like I had all these things. So it's sort of, I think that was kind of the start of it, just not being able to sort of, be able to do shit as easy as what I was able to do beforehand and that sort of thing. And then the sort of thing I just used as an excuse for eating shit food and just not actually going out and doing anything. And then finally, a couple of years later, I started doing some more sport and shit like that, but it still just never was the same as, doing it before, where you can fully stride out, no dramas whatsoever. Whereas now you're sort of running like a bit of a limp as you're running.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that was sort of a moment when I started to go downhill a bit. And that's a sort of thing. I've been stuck for probably the last 8 years.
That's a fair while to be stuck, man. Did you try anything like in that time to get yourself out of the anxiety or the depression?
Well, I saw quite a few different counselors, but because with my job at that stage, I was moving around sort of between Wollongong and further down the South Coast, and then I was in Sydney. So like, it was hard to try and find a consistent person I was going to. And so like those sort of things would help. But as we all do, you sort of do it for a couple of weeks, and then you'd follow the process and stuff, and you start feeling better. And then you miss one session, you're like, oh, that's all right, I'll make up for it next week, and then keep doing the same thing, making an excuse, and then so then that would happen. Then I'd go back in this shit moment, and then I'd go and see another counsellor, and then do the same thing over again. And so I've been doing that over the last fair few years. And I thought it was, I've hit 30 now, so it's time to start actually, pulling my pants up and having a fucking dig.
Totally. Why was it that you decided at 30 that you weren't going to muck around anymore and you're actually just going to do it properly?
Well, watch one of your videos, and it was talking about how you've actually, you did like the linear line, and said how long you've actually got in life to live. And you've actually fucking, at 30, you've lived over a third of your life fucking already. Then you sort of like, oh, fuck, I've only got 2/3 of my life left to actually fucking make something and actually enjoy life,
It's a crazy one when you look at it like that. When you actually like bring it out and you have it on a line, it's crazy to see how little time you have left and how much you've already spent of your best years.
Yeah, man, it actually scared the shit out of me. I went, fuck off. And then sort of like watch the whole video, and then all of a sudden I'm going, fuck, this is actually very, very friggin' true. So I think it's time to stop being an idiot and actually start looking after yourself and have a crack. Because like I've had lots of stomach problems as well. So I don't know whether that was, I think it's probably a mix and match of things. But a lot had to do with my diet. So every morning since I started my apprenticeship, so I've been doing apprenticeship I've been working for 11 years at the same place. and probably 2/3 of the mornings I felt like I wanted to spew. I'd cough myself into almost a spew stage, and then I probably would spew. Or
Jesus.
yeah, and I got an endoscopy, got a colonoscopy, come back with nothing. They said no, all seems to be pretty clear. And
what did they say about it? They said, okay, all the tests say that it's clear. Did they say anything? Give you any explanation, any help, any pointers?
No, it was the worst doctor I had. He pretty much said don't eat wheat, and that was about it. And he said you had an elongated colon, so a little bit longer colon than normal, so which supposedly takes stuff to digest a little bit longer.
Mm.
And but pretty much I saw him, and then saw him for the follow up, and then he barely said anything to me. Had a half an hour chat.
$600. Thank you very much.
Yeah, see you later, out the door. And I went, fuck that, I'm not going to go see this guy again. That was like bullshit. Gave me
it
no
is
friggin'
so common. Like, have I told you why I didn't go down? Because I was studying to be a doctor. Did I tell you why I didn't go? No. I didn't keep going. I had like repeatedly over, and I was still coaching. I was back, I think I was like 20 at this stage, and I was just finishing off my degree. And I still remember going in like and seeing multiple doctors with clients who I was taking to the doctor, and just seeing how little fucks they actually gave about their client. It was just a churn and burn. It's like when you go to the GP, like you come in and they try and get you out the door within 5 minutes. You go to a specialist, it's the same thing. Yeah. There is like for such a large number of them, admittedly, yeah, of course, there are going to be some great specialists and GPs and whatnot. But for such a large number of them, they just don't give a fuck, do they?
Nah, that's what it fucking seems like. Hey, they just go, right, give me your money, out you go. Give me your money, out you go. And it's 100%. Frustrating. It's frustrating because you get it. They see thousands of people, but you sort of just be like, oh, I wish you gave me a little bit more information, or you sort of felt like you cared a little bit more.
Yeah, at least act like you cared about
right.
me. Yeah. Give me something to make me feel good.
Yeah, that's right. Then as soon as I walk out the door, go bloody dickhead or something like that,
Yeah, exactly.
Just good to my face.
Exactly. Also, when you were going through and you're having a chat with Sean and you're contemplating signing up with us, did you have any hesitations or reservations about actually going through with it and pulling the trigger?
Not really, because I got to a stage where I was like, fuck it, what's the worst that can happen, you get coaching and sort of see where it takes you in 6 months. You can't be any worse than where you were. Why'd you approach it that way? Well, as I said, like I saw that video and sort of I need to do something. I'm at a stage where I need to do something because I was going crazy. Like, my head was just in a terrible place, absolute terrible place. And I was at a stage there where I was like pleading to myself, just do something instead of just sitting here feeling shit and sorry for yourself.
What effect was it having on your relationship, you being in that mental state?
Well, the missus is actually pretty good with it. She's pretty understanding. So, but like it puts a lot of pressure and stress on her as well for no reason whatsoever.
How so?
Well, we're a team, but it's still my burden. And like she's obviously got her own shit going on in her life. So like I should be really looking after myself. So instead of adding stress to her, I should have been doing a lot more for myself. And which then obviously would then show in the relationship, which would then help her not be as worried about me or anything like that.
Did it limit you guys from doing anything? I mean, a lot of guys who have like anxiety and depression, like you just can't be fucked to do anything. You can't be fucked to go out. You don't want to be seen out in public, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, 100%. Well, they, a lot of the time, like it'd sort of be, oh yeah, we should go out. And then sort of you'd find a reason not to go out. And like I find myself still sort of finding a reason not to go out. Which, that's something I've still got to work on, just trying to actually be a fun guy and take her out on dates and stuff like that. So, which I know I've got to kick myself in the ass and do something about it. So, but it's just really stressful and sort of, you start a bit of fighting and bickering and you sort of put unnecessary stress on the relationship for no reason.
Yeah, gotcha. Or because what? Because you're not able to go out, you're not confident within yourself and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah, sort of, well, what if I do, like start talking to yourself like, oh shit, what if you do something shit, or what if she doesn't like it? She prefer like me to go take her to the movies and just go sit there and watch a movie for 2.5 hours and then come home. Like just something simple as that. Just get out of the frigging house.
Yeah, go out and do it.
Yeah.
Did it impact you at work at all?
Yeah, that was actually another reason too. One of the my apprentice boss, he come out and saw us on a job site one day, and he goes, "You right, mate?" I sort of didn't notice anything different. And he just sort of was asking me a couple of questions, like asking if I was all right. And yeah, no, I feel all right. And all of a sudden, he asked me again. I was like, "No, I'm actually pretty fucking anxious." And then sort of that started conversation in going and seeing someone to actually try and help me calm down and actually think through my situations instead of getting so amped up about every single little thing. It was it was just I guess it was nice to know that someone actually like picked up on it, because like what happens if someone doesn't pick up on that and doesn't, that's why are you okay day sort of thing. Well, that's like every day is sort of are you okay day, but so it's good that awareness has been sort of brought out for for anxiety and depression. Because
if he didn't pick up on it, where do you think you'd be? Would you have done anything?
I think I'm too much of a coward to do anything.
Why do you say that?
Well, like it took me long enough to pull the trigger to do something to fix myself. So I don't think I'd have the actual balls to do anything silly to myself. But yeah, and plus I've got a family that is just the absolute fucking best. Like, I have the best fucking family in the world. And you're sort of like, well, fuck, imagine if you did something, what would happen to them?
Like, so like you're referring to like suicide if you got in a really bad spot.
Yeah, like if like the way like I was going, like I never would have done anything, but you start getting those dirty thoughts in your head. And
did you get any of those?
Oh, once or twice, but like it was only like very brief. Like I never got to a stage of where like I had a bloody bit of rope or anything like that. But like got to a stage where I just didn't come out of my room for a couple of days and said watch TV, and you just feel, I don't know how to say the word, how it feels. But it's a very lonely feeling. Even though you've got family around you, surrounded by you, you just still feel really alone.
It's a really strange one. You feel like you're the only person who's going through that feeling in the world. And it's like no one else gets it. No one can understand how I feel right now, how anxious I feel, how depressed, how sad, how lethargic, how I just can't be fucked for anything. And it's like this really weird way in which we just isolate ourselves.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Then, it's a weird feeling that there's so many other people going through the same thing, but they're just handling it different to how I'm handling it. So, like, and that's why I talk to a lot of people these days. I'll just talk to people and I'll be telling them like how have anxiety and stuff like that. So a lot of my mates and everyone know that like I get it, and a lot of people at work, know I get a lot of anxiety as well. So
did anyone give you any shit for that?
Nah, everyone's been fucking awesome. They everyone's so supportive, and everyone's happy to lend a ear for 5-10 minutes while you just talk shit and get whatever's off your bloody chest. And
did you ever have a fear that someone was going to judge you or treat you differently for opening up about that?
Not really. I've always been a pretty open person, like especially with my parents. Like pretty much they know everything that's sort of happened in my life. So like I always grew up with always talk it out, like always talk with you. Like if I need to go to someone, I always have my parents to talk to. So regardless of how bad or what the fuck happened, I could go and talk to my parents and it wouldn't be a drama. So I've always sort of had been taught or grown up just with that of like I don't really care who I talk to about. I'm just sort of talking a yarn, and then everyone you talk to seems to seems to be all right to talk to about it.
It's a weird fear that a lot of us get. Is like when we do get anxious, we get depressed, or something's going on. It's like we feel like almost ashamed to be able to talk about it. But it's really cool that pretty much every time I've asked someone that question, I haven't had one person who's actually been judged or treated poorly. Yeah. Like when you go through and say, you know what? I'm actually having a really fucking shit time and I'm miserable.
It's so true, hey. And it's good though, because everyone has a shit day. Everyone has a shit day or two. And just having an ear just to talk to, just to get whatever's off your chest, just really fucking helps. Because you know yourself, when you just keep it in for a couple of days and you don't say nothing to anyone, and all of a sudden you say something to someone, you go, I feel a bit better now. Like, instead of holding all that shit in, you're actually happy to, like, you feel like a weight's lifted off you.
Well, so what effect has working with us and working with Liam, what effect has that had on you?
Mate, I've done an absolute full 180.
How so?
So I haven't even looked like spewing since I've started JCF. I haven't even looked like it. I'm in the fittest and probably most jacked I've ever been in my life. But I'm a lot more confident in myself as well. So, like, we used to always do the nice guy thing, and I'm starting to get to a stage now where I'm actually starting to try and phase myself out of that. So I'm actually...
Well, let's talk about that, man. That's a fucking awesome point. I'm glad you brought it up. Like, when you talk about the nice guy thing and you say you were doing it, what were you doing?
So, like, you know, if a mate would ask me, can you come pick me up half an hour away? Like, and, you know, for no fucking reason, just because he's a lazy prick and didn't want to come and see me, I'd have to go and drive him. Like, oh, yeah, mate, I'll come and see you. Or, you know, if a guy up, like, you know, if he asks for, you know, can I loan $100? Yeah, no worries, mate. And now I'm like, fuck, what am I going to give anyone? Like, I work for that money. Why am I giving it away to someone who's just sitting on the couch doing fuck all?
And so for you, man, like, you're clearly quite a generous person. So, like, with that, where do you draw the line between being generous and being taken advantage of?
Yeah, that's a fine line, because there's times where you're like, I should just do it because I feel like just being a decent human being. There's other times where you just go, fuck, I don't want to do this at all. And then you still go through it and do it. It's hard to say where you draw the line. You always got to go a case by case instance.
Well, so like you were being like overly generous and people kind of took advantage of you.
Yeah.
100%. What effect did that have on you?
Well, I felt like I needed them. Like, I feel like I needed those friends to actually have friends. Like, I had to do shit like that to have friends instead of just, you know, knowing that I've got a shitload more friends that wouldn't expect me to do stuff like that.
Yeah, gotcha. So, what was that like, feeling like you needed them?
Kind of made me feel like a loser, really. Sort of, yeah, trying to search for people's approval, and, like, you know, the people probably like you already anyway, but you're still searching for approval, and you sort of, you feel like you're the guy missing out.
How long did you feel like that?
Shit, probably not till a couple of years ago. I sort of had a bit of a verbal with a mate, and a lot of shit went down with that. And and yeah, I got to that stage where I was like, fuck, because it was just after
Can you describe to us what happened?
So I met my fiance, and like one of the first few, like, we started dating pretty early, and like, it was a big distance. You know, she lived 2.5 hours away to where I was. So being that guy where I was always going to go and see them every single weekend, or Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, I'd be down at their place. But then now I've gotten the missus, and she lives 2.5 hours away. You know, you sort of got to, your time's dedicated to that. And they sort of, I don't know whether they didn't see that, or they sort of were just so used to me being there, like, every time, that I wasn't there. And then sort of it turned around, and they had a go at me, like, oh, you know, do you know who your fucking friends are? And that sort of shit like that, like, you know, schoolyard shit. And then and I was like, well, fuck, I'm happy with my missus, so I don't fucking really need you guys sort of be, you know, be part of my life if you're going to be like that.
Mm.
And yeah, so that sort of, yeah, and as I said, like the guy kind of owed me a bit of money and stuff like that. So that's what I was like, well, fuck, you're not going to pay it back. You keep saying you are. Fuck yeah, like it's just go cut the ties and it's just easier to fucking lose that money and then lose that bloke, and then that's one bit of shit I don't have to worry about anymore.
It'd be the nice guy syndrome, where you just feel like you owe everyone everything. You feel like you're in debt. You feel like you've got nothing. It really grabs you by the balls and traps you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. Like that's a sort of, yeah, it really sort of messed with me. Sort of, you know, gave you a sort of a bit of social anxiety as well, just because like you felt like you always had to be with them. You couldn't go out anywhere unless you're with them, sort of thing. And yeah, like, and you always feel like you're missing out, even though they weren't doing anything. You still feel like you're missing out. So like, oh, you know, come half an hour to drive just to sit down and watch TV. You know, like you weren't going out and actually doing anything, but like you still felt like you were missing out.
Yeah, it's super common, man. Super common. Okay, and so you had you've got through the nice guy syndrome. You haven't been spewing the anxiety, depression, like that's gone. Like you're crushing life. Like, what did you take from Liam? Did you learn anything in particular from him about how you should be as a man?
Yeah, so it's pretty much his stuff up he's saying. He always says that it's conflict delayed is conflict multiplied. I hope I said that right, Liam, if you're listening. And like that's sort of like a big thing that I sort of do now. Instead of just letting stuff slide, like I'll actually say something now. Like
what effect has that had?
It's good. I just feel like I've got, you know, something in between my legs now. Like
it's seriously like that though, because when you do back away from conflict, you do back away from that hard conversation. Someone's being a prick and you just cop it. Someone says something you don't like, or they do something wrong by you, or they don't pay you back your money. It does sometimes feel easier just to not do it in the moment. But in the long term, it's so much harder because you feel like someone owns your nuts. Like you're not even a man. You're not even enough of a man to have that hard conversation, that difficult conversation with someone.
Yeah, that's the funny thing. Like it just, you know, you just feel like you're actually taking control of yourself too. Like you actually feel like you're taking control, not just sitting there and copping it.
What effect did that have on your anxiety when you got your balls back?
Man, it's, yeah, like the anxiety, it comes and goes, but it's very, very brief now. Like with the meditation, the and the breathing techniques. So like all that stuff goes away now. So like, and you get your balls back, you just feel like a man, you know? Like you actually feel like you can fucking do anything now.
Has your missus noticed any changes in you?
Yeah, she it's always funny. She always keeps saying, "Oh, you would never used to speak to me like that." I'm like, yeah, I probably went a little bit too far with that one. But yeah, she's noticed a massive difference just with everything. Sort of just feeling better, not spewing, and that's what she like. You know, so I said she's pretty proud of me of how far I've come. So, which is always nice.
If she would have noticed like one big change in you, one really big one, what would it be?
I have to say probably my anxiety and depression, I'd have to say, is how much I've got that under control. Would probably be the biggest change out of all of it.
And so from that change, like how has that allowed your relationship to grow?
Well, we actually, you know, we're starting talking about what our next actual project is with our relationship. You know, like next is getting married, like kids, like we want to start making kids. And then what do we want? Do we want another house? Do we want another investment property? Or like it actually is now, it feels like it's giving us a bit more direction on where we want to go.
Did you not have that direction before?
Nah, I felt like we were sort of just, as I said, like, because I was so stagnant. I think I was just a bit of an anchor, just holding us back.
Yeah, right. Really.
And it just sort of not wanting to do anything.
How does that feel knowing that you're an anchor?
Yeah, it feels pretty shit. Like there's a stage there where, you sort of just go, oh, kind of feel a bit shitty. Like I don't feel like I'm actually contributing to anything. Don't feel like I'm contributing to this relationship very well. Sort of, see all the shit on Instagram and Facebook and stuff like where, all the friends are out and about with their bloody partners and you're just sitting there on the lounge drinking piss.
Did you ever get a feeling like she was going to leave you at all, or the relationship was going to end?
Yeah, like there's a couple of times where like I've been very worried just because of fucking just, I've been too comfortable, just expecting the relationship to just keep chugging along. But you still gotta make an effort to actually make relationships work, which this is my first actual long-term relationship that I've been in. We've been together 6 years. And so like I was at a stage I was using it as a bit of an excuse, like, oh, I'm not good at this stuff. Like I've never done this before. And yeah, so now like sort of I'm trying to turn it all around so I can, keep things exciting and just actually have a shitload of fun.
Personal question. Has it changed your sex life at all? Like since you got your balls back and you got your confidence back and who you are, has it changed that?
We've got a pretty good sex life, so I can't complain too much at all about it, to be honest. Yeah, like we have a great sex life, and but like I feel more of a man while we're having sex, which is good.
That's a big thing, man. It's a really big thing because
like,
when you feel like a fucking man, like sex becomes so much more intimate and so much more strong.
Yeah, it's weird. Like you feel like you actually, like you actually grow into a bigger human. Like while you're doing it, I don't know what it is. Like you're obviously the same size, but you just feel, I wouldn't say dominant, but you just feel like a beast.
Yeah, well, you feel like a man. You feel masculine. The man's like we're meant to be like somewhat aggressive. We're meant to be powerful. We're meant to be strong. And when you feel like you're castrated, it's pretty hard to feel that way.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. Like, but yeah, now it's I just feel like the man.
My man. And so, okay, so for you, man, like what's next? Like now that you've beaten the gut issues, you're no longer spewing up, you're no longer feeling so anxious, you've got that largely under control. Yeah, it comes and goes, but you've got it. You know how to manage it. The depression's not there. You're not sitting in your bedroom locking yourself away. You're not feeling like that anymore. You've got your life under control. Not just under control, you're on a massive upward trajectory in every single area. What's next?
So our next goal is obviously to just try and get this wedding out of the way. Well, not to say like that, but we've had to replan it a couple of times. So we're at a stage now. We're like, let's just have this good party, and then and I think our next thing would be probably a kid, and then get us a house living, because we're living with Misso's dad at the moment. Like we're in a big house, but we're at a stage where we're sort of like, need to start looking to try and get another house, because we've already got one investment property, but we're just trying to sort of work out whether we want a house to live in or we're happy to live where we are. So, but that's where we want to be sort of in the next couple of years, just sort of actually start a family.
That's exciting, man.
Yeah. So we're pretty pumped for it.
I bet. You should. So you should be. I was going to ask you this as well. A lot of guys, when they work with us, when they start getting their balls back, when they start going through it, like they get their mojo back. They start doing better at work. Things start rolling. Financially, things get better as well. They stop blowing money on dumb shit. They start investing in smarter places, and they get better. The better you are, the more money you make. It's how it always works. Have you noticed any changes like that?
Yeah, 100%. Well, we've started saving heaps more money as well. So because our long-term goal is to be sort of retired before we're 50.
Awesome.
That's our long-term goal, is to get ourselves comfortable and be able to retire by the time we're 50. Because you see a lot of people, they get to that 60, 65 mark, and then by the time they retired, they barely fucking move, or they cark it in a couple of years, and you go, well, why not aim for 50, and then you've got at least 15, 20 good years.
True
to
that,
go
man.
and explore. So that's what our main goal is. And, just those little goals, once you've done that Super Saiyan, the Super Saiyan spreadsheet, that sort of mapped out a fair few shortish term goals for me, which gave me a bit more guidance in life. Like just to, just actually have goals sitting there, whereas I can read that on my phone now and go, righto, this is what you're aiming for. Righto, this is what you're aiming for. And you just, remind yourself every now and then that these are the goals, how you're going to get there and have a crack.
Oh, so, okay, I got a weird question for you then. With that being said, if you weren't working with Liam, you didn't have the Super Saiyan spreadsheet, you didn't go on the plane, you didn't start anything at all, right? Where would you be right now?
Probably pretty fucking lost. Yeah, I'd still be, as I said, still be feeling like shit all the time. And I just wouldn't be like, because like me, focus is just so much better. So I wouldn't be fuzzy. Like I'd be so fuzzy, still trying to make correct decisions. And, is this a good investment to make? Or is this a good investment to make? Whereas now I'm like, nah, righto, this is what we're doing. And just, I'd be lost. There's no other real word to say, but I'd just be lost.
How does it feel? How is life different now? How is it easier now that you can actually make clear decisions because you don't have brain fog?
Well, at work, instead of, doing a job and then walking away and then coming back, check it, walk away, come back, check it, walk away. I was doing that 4 or 5 times, even though completely fine, no dramas. And then now it's, once, check it up, sweet, off you go. That's it. There's no more of this bullshit, being anxious about, oh shit, do I do this? Do I do this? Do I do this? It's now just sort of a lot more confident in myself in what I can actually do. Always doubting myself in what I can do. And, you always have people, no, you're good at what you do. You can do it. You can do it. You're good. Don't tell yourself you're shit. Don't tell yourself you're shit. And then, you're like, okay, no worries. Then in your head, you've just got that circling. You shit. Yeah.
What advice would you give, or what would you advise somebody on who's where you were, 6, 9, 12 months ago?
Take a step. Stop sitting there and literally get off your ass. Just take a step. That's all it takes is one step. And then the next step follows, then the next step follows, and the next step follows.
Well, here's the number one thing, right? When you're in that state, you say, I want to take a step, but I don't want to take the wrong step. What would you say to that?
Any step's better than sitting where you're sitting, is what I'd say. Regardless, you make a wrong decision. Well, you've learned from that situation. Next time something like that happens, you're going to make the right decision.
And how would you get someone to adopt that mindset? Because it's a big change.
Yeah, it's.
How did you do it?
Well, honestly, I just watched it. I saw one of your videos. I mean, that was enough to scare the shit out of me. Like, I don't find something that scares the shit out of you that makes you realize that life's too fucking short to be sitting here miserable.
Yeah. I'll do up a video on that and I'll show it, and I'll put a link in here for everyone so they can go through and see it. But it's really powerful when you see that on a string, you've already used a third of it. Some guys we coach are going over half of it they've used already. It's like, how much longer do you want to stay where you are?
Yeah, it's just, it was enough to scare the shit out of me. So, but if anyone's struggling, buddy, just go and see JCF. They'll fix you up. It's just trying to take a step in the right direction is the only advice that you can say, is just try and muster that tiniest bit of energy, just something to move, because you don't move, you die. True that. If
you're not moving, if you're not growing, you're dying every day. Yeah. I love that, man. Dude, thank you so much for coming on and being so open. It's cool. We talked on some touchy stuff, but I really appreciate how transparent you could be with us.
No, thanks for coming on. I was actually shitting myself before I come on. So, Yeah, I probably rambled on a lot of shit, but hope someone gets
That's all
something
right,
out
bro.
of
I
it.
ramble on about shit every day.
Yeah, the professional at it.
Exactly. That's my job. I just ramble shit. So you're always welcome to come on here and ramble shit, man.
Sweet. No worries. I'll do it another time.
Yeah, 100%, man. I want to get you back on another 3-6 months and see how much you've changed again.
Perfect. Yep. Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, man. You know what we're going to do is we're starting implementing all this testing now. So like at the start of it, so we're going to test like every 12 weeks, like where you at financially, where you're at with your testosterone, where you're at emotionally, energy-wise, relationships, all that, and tracking you guys and getting like actual statistics and proper data on it. And so tracking you like every 12 weeks, because it's pretty incredible. Like, fuck, if we did that with you, man, can you imagine the differences in your body, your mind, everything? Like it'd be crazy.
Yeah, like actually having all that data and being like, right, this is what we need to tweak to do this to make you the ultimate man.
Exactly, man.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll guinea pig you with that, man.
Yeah, I'm keen.
100%. Thanks for coming on, dude. It's been a pleasure.
No worries. Thanks, James. Have a good one, man.
Now, bro. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you got something out of it and you want to learn more, click the link below or type in High Performance Conversations with James Cant and you'll be able to check out all the podcasts that we've done. We cover a stack of different topics, everything from getting your mojo back, overcoming anxiety, self-doubt, self-esteem, and learning from some of the industries and some of the world's top performers in both business and in health. Look forward to having you on there.